Hello, friends, and welcome inside. It's League on Lock. Eric and Mark with you, and it is a momentous, a joyous occasion, a wonderful day in the neighborhood, because Worlds 2018 is finally here. The main stage, group stage action, is underway.
Yeah, normally I take a bit of a nap around nighttime.
Of course.
Get my little bit of a snooze in and then wake up nice and early to catch these games on the Korean time schedule here. But this time, Eric, I was, staying up late. I was real excited for Worlds to start. And then I started to get a bit tired as the games were approaching. And then, oh boy, Caster June comes in with the hype intro and I am ready for Worlds.
It did look a little rough because it was kind of empty, but apparently people weren't allowed in if you were 5 minutes late. So the stadium was actually more full than it let on during those opening ceremonies. But after the opening ceremonies, of course, the games got underway and things kicked off with KT Rolster taking on Team Liquid, NA's main hope against pretty much the second favorite to win the entire event. Doublelift on Kaisa, and look at that. Urgot Aatrox in the top lane?
Oh yeah, well the important thing here actually is there are some very good bans here coming away from the KT Rolster side, taking away Impact Scion, taking away the Tom Kench to keep Doublelift safe. But it didn't matter here in this one because Team Liquid early on with the Rakan shutting down KT Rolster in that bottom lane, picking up the unlikely first blood for North America.
And there was the face check early on that Doublelift had to burn his flash early on, but it didn't matter because Liquid got the first 2 kills of the game. And here it's the Syndra going against Pobelter. Yukao trying to get the kill, but ooh, the clean footwork gets him out there. He was still pretty behind in that mid lane, and the second time didn't go so well. He didn't get out.
Yeah, Yukao's like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you right there. You're done. Gonzo, buddy. That was the result there of a Rise early teleport in this game, getting Pobelter way behind on CS, and Yukao did not look back, punishing him for every CS that he missed in that lane.
Yeah, and Pobelter was pretty far behind, even in the bottom lane because of that level 1. Doublelift was getting behind. Liquid goes too hard for that dragon there. KT cleans up a fight. That turns into a Baron. This one was just pretty much methodical in KT's favor, anywhere north of 3 minutes after Liquid got a couple of early kills.
It was very rough early on for Team Liquid, given the first 5-10 minutes. You had Doublelift checking that bush, level 1, and getting down to 75% health, losing 75% of his health at level 1 right before the minion wave comes through, and some other top lane struggles and jungle struggles as far as getting the rest of the camps there. They did well to make this game competitive towards the middle part, but of course, KT Rolster, 200 IQ plays there. Great stuff from them to start off the tournament with a victory against Team Liquid.
And Doublelift with a little bit of a grin there, obviously didn't really care. Not too phased. That was the thing we said coming into today is if you're Liquid, don't get too tilted from losing that first game because it is against KT, who is the second odds-on favorites to win the entire event. So don't panic too hard when you get a loss against them. But we see when Doublelift gets behind, Team Liquid doesn't win. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's the win condition for Team Liquid. Need to have Doublelift in a strong position, moving into those middle parts of the game towards those team fights that you need to have him there to engage on. And when you're looking at some of these fights around the Dragon Pit, around these the Fire Dragons, you're gonna be having it here with Doublelift not making it into the pits to get into these fights and contribute the way that you would want to, and it's causing Team Liquid to be too far split up here by KT Rolster, leading to these victories in the team fights for KT Rolster.
Yeah, and pretty much across the board in the laning phase, KT came out ahead. Team Liquid just kind of basically played the same game as KT, but worse. And that's kind of what we've seen across a lot of these events. The North American squads just kind of play a slow pace, try and macro-based game. And guess what? Korea and the LCK are just 10 times better than you guys at that.
Yeah.
We saw that today.
You're certainly not going to beat them at their very own game there. And hey, Team Liquid, you can't be prioritizing these Infernal Drakes that high. You gotta, hey, I gotta tell you what, some 200 IQ here. Baron is worth more than an Infernal Dragon there, so make sure you're on that one.
Baron greater than Infernal. That's the takeaway from day one for Liquid and North America in that matchup. Second match of the day, also from Group C, was EDG and Mad Team, the other two squads from the group. EDG obviously had to come in through the play-ins. Mad Team just went right in there, and EDG, we saw a few different versions of EDG in that play-in stage, but they looked a whole lot better against DFM in the knockout stage. They had Haro starting in this one, and we know he likes to be aggressive, sometimes too much.
Yeah, I like this play here because you could make the case there for Scout being a little bit selfish and greedy, not eating the Zoe Paddlestar there to save his jungler the damage, but it's kind of a point of, well, your jungler was stupid enough to get caught out there. He kind of deserves it.
He deserves to be punished.
Yeah, of course. But here is some amazing plays by Kongi coming through here. But Uniboy, what are you doing?
The green boy.
You can't do that, man. No way. Activates the trap card. Pot of greed. Takes him down. EDG
He went
finding
through
their way
all
in that fight.
to survive, and then decides to walk back and take an Olaf axe in the face to end up going down anyways. This game was a bloodbath and a bit of a fiesta. It's eventually Mad Team just chasing this down with the blue build Ezreal, absolutely relentless. They end up picking up a couple of kills. iBoy says, I'm just going to recall here, but it's a 200 IQ bait. He flashes the Zoe and tags him with the auto. iBoy, you genius. He had an absolutely incredible game for EDG. Not just that play, but all these team fights. This guy is so aggressive on the Xayah.
Man, we were talking about this one. This is like no flame to Wild Turtle. This is like Wild Turtle unlocked, unleashed here to the maximum right now. iBoy is just incredibly insane on what he wants to do, how aggressive he is, and it worked out in this one for EDG. As you said before, a bloodbath in this one against Mad. Mad, who we didn't think would really provide much of a test in this group. Now it's going to be interesting to see here. Is this more of the EDG where they kind of stumbled against Infinity Esports, gave up that game to them? Is this more of that we see here? Or is this just a sign that Mad is really here to play in this group and make it a little bit more interesting than we expected heading into it?
Yeah, so it took 40 minutes, but EDG does move to 1-0 to start their 2018 Worlds main group stage. And iBoy, you see him flash aggressively, which sure, a lot of AD carries do, but he'll do it just to chunk out the opposing AD carry. He'll get him down, just to get him down to 50% and zone him from the rest of the fight. Not necessarily to grab a kill, but just to take him out. And I mean, it paid dividends in a lot of these fights. He was chunking out the Ezreal, and just the damage numbers from a lot of these team fights was absolutely disgusting by him.
Completely nutty from iBoy here, doing some insane damage on the Kai'Sa. And I think the important thing to remember here is when you're looking at EDG and how they got this victory, you got to think that there were certainly some moments here where the likes of Uniboy were landing these CC shots on them and waiting to take them down. But oh no, it's these instant time reactions from guys like Scout and from iBoy that were able to save them in these situations and lead to the rest of EDG finding a way to get that victory.
So EDG and KT sitting at 1-0 after their first games at Worlds 2018. But coming up after the break, we got plenty of other games to get through, including the likes of Group A, where you got the EU LCS trying their shot against the LCK. Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome back to League on Lock. Eric and Mark with you guys today, and Worlds Day 1 is here. Group stage action. Already had some Group C. You saw KT and EDG start 1-0. Pretty much as predicted in those matches. So we're moving on to Group A, which is, you know, some opportunity for the likes of G2. This is probably the biggest toss-up group if you're asking me about who's going to come out on top. But the first games were between Flash Wolves and the Phong Buffalo out of Vietnam, who are probably the biggest question mark in the biggest question mark group, because you don't know what's going to show up with this Vietnamese squad. But Flash Wolves rock the Scion mid lane for Maple with Aatrox and Alistair. Those are some Bash Bros.
Oh yeah, looking to smash some people here in this one. And you gotta say, early on, getting that action off and that sword art, and hey, you should be seeing the reaction from some of these guys on Flash Wolves. They thought that was nasty, and that's even worse.
What do you do?
That's illegal. That has to be illegal in many countries, what you just did to that Varus.
What are you supposed to do when you're Big Coral on the Varus? And then I love seeing Hex Flash actually utilized and making a play. Flash Wolves aren't able to get the Baron, but they do get the kill on Naul. And by the way, Phong Buffalo is 3/5 young generation who didn't make it out of play-ins in 2017. 2018, they're revitalized, look like a whole new team. But right now, it's Flash Wolves dunking on them with the Aatrox on Hanabi. Aatrox is a good champion.
Yeah, this is that Aatrox doing work there from the top lane position. Really nice to see from the Flash Wolves that level of strength in that position for them, because of course we always talk up Maple, always talk up Sword Art. So to see Hanabi start off this tournament with a good performance is a good sign, of course, for the Flash Wolves.
I really loved that team comp. We know Maple can play these carry mid laners and mages to take over games, but he can also just stick them on Sion when you've got the likes of Mujin on something like the Talia combined with Betty on the Kaisa. There are multiple carry threats. Pretty much every single role on Flash Wolves is capable of carrying a game. So to see that diversity out of them, and that was a clean game for their first win.
Yeah, very clean game for the Flash Wolves there. And you gotta say that when you're looking at what was going on in this game, I think a lot of credit deserves to go to Mujin in the jungle. I think his pressure, his way of being close to these lanes and providing it when he needed to be there was really on point in this game. And I think that was one of the main reasons you were able to get a lot of these lanes off and running in this matchup to help you get that victory.
Yeah, and for Flash Wolves, they're kind of a team that we know how successful they were at MSI, and obviously they continue to dominate the LMS, but they always come under the radar to Worlds, and they're one of the aforementioned teams, or teams that are kind of second or third thought behind the favorites from the LCK, and this year specifically RNG. But they look really good in game one, and I think they are a legitimate threat. I already said I think they could get to semis at this event, or maybe even further. I think they are a legitimate threat to go deep at this event.
Could be crazy to see, and hey, would be interesting to see the noted Korean killers making it far into this tournament, looking to take someone down.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till Flash Wolves meet up with the Afreeca Freaks, but we saw what Liquid did against the LCK. Did not go well against KT Rolster, so it was EU's time to take on Korea when G2 went up against the Afreeca Freaks, and G2 in play-ins was not pretty at times. They did not look good against Infinity Esports, but oh no, Afreeca, you didn't ban Heimer.
Afreeca Freaks, simple right here. I tell you what, and I tell anybody I meet about this, always do your homework. Homework is important. I know it sucks to do it.
Even math homework?
Even math homework, because I tell you what, if Afreeca Freaks did their math homework on G2, they'd figure out that, hey, can't be leaving up a Heimerdinger. And in this one, hey, not the Heimerdinger early on. It is Afreeca Freaks getting that counter gank onto Jankos, picking up that first blood.
Yeah, Jankos not looking good there, but we got the Snowbirdinger. He's rolling now. He's fully online. He's got a kill, and we've seen how well G2 played around Heimer. That's why they were 6-0 to start in the EU LCS split, because for whatever reason, Hjarnan has mastered that champion. Here we got a split push. We got Wonder on the Camille, and Afreeca, what are you doing? He's getting a free inhib, and you're losing some kills, so what's happening? The macro looks like a bit of a mess. It's been a while since we've seen them play.
That is another thing to remember here. That was something heading into the KT Rolster match that was important to remember, was given that there will be some rust on some of these LCK top level teams here, given how long they've been off. But hey, you can't put this one up to being off for so long. This is simply G2 Esports executing their composition to the maximum potential that it had.
And look how low kill game this is. It was just fully in control, just playing around objectives, getting turrets. It helps when you have a Heimerdinger doing that. But G2 really put on a master class, which is something I did not think I'd be saying after the macro that they had against Infinity Esports. What a turnaround for the third seed out of EU. It's usually very rare that you get one win as a Western squad against an LCK squad, and it's the first game of Worlds that G2 does it.
Pretty crazy, and I gotta say, awesome from G2 to pick up this victory again. As we said, not really looking all that hot in the play-in stage, but I want to give them massive credit in this victory, because not only were they able to pull it off, if you get a chance, listen to the team comms when they're in some of these tense moments in this game. It is clear as possible. The communication lines seem good on this G2 team, and I think right now that is one of the pillars of their strength. They get the composition, they know how to execute it, and that communication is calm, clear, and ready to go when they need it, and it leads them to a victory against the Afreeca Freaks.
And I think this is a good example of having that experience and momentum from the play-in stage. They've already played so many games on the international stage. I know the competition's a clear level below when you're in the play-in stage, but to already come in rolling and warmed up, whereas Afreeca hasn't played on stage in months. They played even longer before KT because they played in the semifinal round. They didn't play in the gauntlet at all because they came in as that second seed. So it has been a long time since Afreeca was on the stage. But yeah, you got to ban Heimerdinger. And for G2, this has got to be the greatest example I can possibly think of playing to the level of your competition when you compare this game to the one against Infinity.
Yeah, and you have to say that one of the nice things for sure about this Heimerdinger pick really popping off is now, well, it's a major threat for these teams to have to deal with in the back of their mind in any of these draft situations. So most likely, I think that you'll start to see this Heimerdinger pick banned out, this proper homework that you needed to do against G2 Esports. That Heimerdinger, not going to be seeing it, I don't think, for a while here for Hjarnan at Worlds. But hey, that frees up another ban out of that list there that people are thinking that they're going to ban. Hey, you're going to ban that Aatrox out? Can't do that if you're going to want to ban out the Heimerdinger from Hjarnan. So this should open up some more options for G2 moving forward.
Yeah, and I think there's still a chance it might sneak through the cracks later on, but definitely not in the next couple of games. So G2 starts their main stage 1-0. Coming up after the break, we'll see if Cloud9 and Vitality can follow in the footsteps of G2 as they take on some titans in the group of death in Group B. We're back. It's League Unlock. Mark here with Eric looking at day one of Worlds 2018, and it's time for some Group B action, which is, of course, where NA and EU hopes and dreams go to die because you got RNG and Gen.G in these groups, who are two of the favorites to, again, win the entire event. Action started off C9 taking on RNG, and C9 came through play-ins. Much like G2, they struggled. Took 5 games to take down Gambit, and Svenskeren starts in game 1 for Cloud9, and he gets the Evelyn. A staple pick for Svenskeren.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what's a staple pick here earlier on. It's RNG picking off the C9 bot lane. Not a good start because, hey, you getting that early gold into Uzi's pocket? Not good.
Oh, but on the top side, Licorice is going deep for Let Me, gets the yank in. Thank you very much for the gold. But yeah, you saw Sneaky burn his flash early on, and boy did RNG punish him for that. That was one death early on. And then here comes the Galio for Xiaohu, just for, yeah, give me a kill too, why not?
It's not even meta there with Uzi, and I'm still having nightmares of seeing him with an Alistar just picking off a North American ADC.
Sneaky's 0-3. Uzi had about a 1,500 gold lead at 10 minutes. He was up a BF Sword Plus at 10 minutes. Licorice was rolling for Cloud9. He got to a 3-0 start, but spoilers, Uzi getting a good start versus Licorice. It's a lot better for Uzi. This game was over by 5 minutes when RNG's bot lane got that far ahead. They just completely started destroying Cloud9 across the map. And Sneaky was playing a little disrespectful, if I'm being honest, in that bot lane.
Certainly was playing disrespectful. This is going to have to be one where you take your lumps, take your beating in this one, and get back with some video review to learn how to approach this one differently, because you're going to have to go against RNG again. But right now, this puts a lot of pressure on the next couple of matches for Cloud9 to try and match the rest of their group.
Yeah, and you weren't expecting them to beat them, but maybe not get destroyed that badly. Not much to say in that one, but this one was a spicy one. You got Gen.G versus Vitality. No ambition. It's Haru in the jungle, and Echo for Jizuki in that mid lane. Didn't get the start you would want out of that mid lane.
No, doesn't get the start that an Echo would want here, but this I love to see from Vitality. This is exactly what a lot of people would have liked to have seen from the likes of the Team Liquid draft, taking something aggressive into the Syndra, countering it and saying not only that, you know, hey, I know that you can bring your game to me and take me down like that type of thing, but hey, I'm gonna bring my game and I'm gonna have something that I can control the game on as well. And this is what you wanna be seeing from the likes of a Western region team heading into someone like Gen.G.
All we said about Vitality all split was they're an early game team. When they don't get an early game lead, they lose. Well, they got behind in this game. They were behind a few thousand gold early on, but this fight completely turns thing around. Crown goes a little too far forward against a Nocturne. He gets caught out, ends up being a bunch of kills for Vitality, and they were not afraid to dive turrets in this game. Holy moly, were there some extended team fights, and look how many turret shots they tanked.
I was going to say, you're talking about Gen.G getting caught out too far forward. How about let's just fight under a turret almost the whole time too far forward?
But it's back in.
But it doesn't matter because you're Jizuki and you're on the Vitality team here. Oh, power to the yellow people. It's all working out for the Vitality.
They grab a Baron with the Nocturne ult to not get any vision, and everyone just flash over. It's all dandy. There was a point, Vitality. They want to do a deep dive again, but this time it does not work out as well for them. Kikis tries to go in on the Nocturne, but the Devour by CoreJJ keeps Crown safe. They dive too deep this time, and Gen.G completely cleans it up. Oh no, EU.
This looked to be the nightmare ending here that you had fought so hard to make it this one a competitive one.
Baron
but you lost it there. But all that Baron, this is where you can win it. This is crazy.
This is the genius play where Cabochard has the smite with the Summoner's Spellbook. Kikis comes in. That's a double smite. Baron was sitting around 3,000 health for a while, and they just say, let's do it. Haru misses the smite. It's too late there. They grab the Baron, and then they're fighting around Elder while Jizuki is split pushing in the top lane. He's just ignoring Cuvee, and then, oh no, Attila teleports into the base to go with him. This looks reminiscent of Schalke versus Splice in the EU LCS playoffs. Just stop the backs. Cuvee's down. 2 men in the base. What do you do?
Yeah,
Can't do anything.
The problem here is that it's not Schalke, it's not Splice, it's Gen.G, the defending world champions, and Vitality managed to pull it off. An incredible end to this one. And hey, it's that 200 IQ. You listen to Jizuki talk about this one. Says, hey, we saw that wave in the top lane. We knew that they'd try to rush Elder if we sent one person up there, but I knew we had another teleport. Bring it on in, and we're going to win the game.
Jizuki's laughter will echo through the ages after that game. Obviously, he was fired up. Fantastic play from Vitality. They play exactly how you'd expect them to play. They don't change anything when they go up against Gen.G, which is something North America should definitely take a page from, because EU 2-0 versus the LCK on day one. You're lucky if you get 2 wins as a Western squad against the LCK in the entire tournament. But EU gets it done on day one. Amazing. Incredible.
Well, we've seen it from the likes of the Gigabyte Marines, the Misfits beforehand, heading into teams like SKT. If you play their game, well, they're simply just going to beat you. They're better at it. They know how to do it. They know the weaknesses. They'll take you down. But if you bring your game in and you can execute it to your conditions, it certainly puts them in a much more difficult position for them. They're not as familiar with maybe your style or how it's being brought out to them specifically in that moment. And you saw that aggression from Vitality at times would catch Gen.G off guard, and they were able to make these proactive plays to get the advantages they need to stay in the game and find their leads to win it.
1-0 start for G2, 1-0 start for Vitality. Now it's on Fnatic for day 2, and it's setting them up for disappointment because they're playing 100 Thieves in their first match. We got a couple of EU versus NA rivalries on day 2. This is only day 1 of Worlds, so it's time to completely panic and overreact. But day 2 gets going tomorrow with Group D getting in on the action, and Mark and I will be here to break down all the highlights for you. But that's all the time for today. Thank you guys very much for joining us here on League on Lock, and we will see you guys next time.